Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 22, and with a viewer story. So I was taught that salvation comes from faith and not works. So meaning no matter who you were, if you believed in God, you can go to heaven. And then the theology professor asked, okay, so if Jeffrey Dahmer accepted Christ before he died, is he going to heaven? He said yes, and then he proceeded to say, guys, we're all Jeffrey Dahmer. With all due respect, theology professor, no the fuck I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm not a murderer.
One time, my philosophy teacher said that it upset God if you didn't sing during worship time.
The story from Ace Homo Romo is, this is a private school story. I wasn't at school one day and me and another kid had to lock the gates at the end of the day. They didn't do it, and both of us got in trouble because a man in a bunny suit ended up hopping around the playground after hours. We're pretty sure he broke out of a mental hospital, but nobody really knows where he came from. That's terrible. Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 23 with viewer stories. So after school in extended care, they had an activity, what was called prayer square on the blacktop, and somebody called a girl up to sing a worship song into the megaphone. She sang Hamster Dance instead. I actually had a very toxic relationship with that girl from kindergarten to 6th grade, and when I told her in 6th grade that I'd had enough and I didn't want to be friends with her, one of the recess moms came up to me and was like, I heard what happened. This is something that you need to think about and pray about. An Instagram DM from Tomboy Baby Wolf right here said that when she was in the girls' changing room, like she had the wrong clothes and then she felt uncomfortable changing in front of other girls, and because of that, the PE teacher made her do more work. Tomboy Baby Wolf, how dare you have boundaries? Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 24, and today the viewers are taking the stage. I complained about the private school dress code before, but Eloise Persian feels me because their school decided to switch the logo about halfway through the year, and not only did they switch the logo, the students had to pay for new uniforms, and private school clothes ain't cheap. Also, anyone who wasn't wearing the new logo got suspended. John Martin, you see this one? John Martin stole altar wine during Catholic school. I don't condone that, but that's kind of hilarious. Okay, Valencia Perez, screw your teacher, because this teacher yelled, "Stop crying, you little brat," at a kid who cried when they were next to the fire alarm after a week of having ear surgery. Later, that teacher smacked a kid for crying after being pushed into wood chips. Ha, the joy of private school. Weird shit that only happens in private school, part 25 with a viewer story. So, one time, my English teacher was eating a donut, and, well, this exchange of dialogue between her and me happened. There are no donuts in this house, so for the sake of this video, we will pretend that this handful of peanuts is a donut. Oh, I feel like I'm sinning. Well, at least it's not crack. Well, Danielle, yes, I'm not sinning in that way. This was the teacher that did not report my classmate for wearing green Jesus socks, if y'all remember that one. At Creepypasta is Awesome School, the morality class teacher gave them rubber babies during a talk about abortion. In college, we had a rubber baby in science class, and one guy took it and was like, weird shit that only happens in private school, part 26 with a viewer story. Remember that teacher that told us that she wanted to send us all to a communist country? Yeah, she said in the school newspaper that when people called in sick, it bugged her, because did Franklin Delano Roosevelt call in sick when he had polio? No. 4th grade, my class was making Christmas cards, and I advised people to put Xmas if they couldn't fit Christmas. And then my teacher heard me say that, and she said, Christ is the reason we celebrate Christmas. Anyone who tells you Xmas is taking the Christ out of Christmas does not know what they're talking about, because the X comes from the Cairo, this Greek character, meaning the X in Xmas actually represents Christ. At Weeb for Frappies private school, one kid ripped a whole ass water fountain off of the wall. Were they expelled? No. Private school rage.
So my sister Danielle blew up on TikTok talking about private school stories, and I got a story for you, Danielle.
Ooh, do tell.
So in 7th, guys want to hear a story?
Yeah.
All right. In 7th grade, I asked my life science teacher what masturbation was in front of the whole class.
Oh God.
And she's like, well, have you heard of jacking off? I was like, no. So she proceeds to tell me what masturbation was in front of the whole class. You guys want to know who the teacher was?
No.
Danielle, it was my mother.
Shit, that's my mom.
I knew what that was in 7th grade.